When modern NBA fans discuss the great dynasties in league history, there are usually 6 mentioned, ranging from Bill Russell's Celtics to Curry's Warriors. However, there's almost always a glaring piece missing from this lineup, a team that won 5 NBA championships in 6 years, led by a player whose dominance was rivaled only by Shaq and Wilt, whose freakish abilities spurred foundational rule changes that seem inseparable from our modern game. I'm of course talking about Geroge Mikan and the Minneapolis Lakers. Winning 7 total rings in 3 different professional leagues, including 4 in a row, followed by a three-peat just a year removed, it's undeniable that this is one of the greatest teams relative to its era that the league has ever seen.
Yes, all this is in Minneapolis, city of lakes, in the land of the sky blue waters, and naturally enough, the home of the Minneapolis Lakers, the world's #1 basketball team.
And given this stretch of dominance, you'd be surprised to learn that on November 17th, 1950, right in the middle of this historic run, they were only able to score 18 points in an entire game. This unbelievable score wasn't the result of a lack of skill or even outstanding defensive ability. Rather, it was an ingenious plan by a fed-up coach tasked with solving an impossible problem. While the Lakers were an offensive powerhouse, with Mikan leading the league in scoring by a wide margin, the true anchor point for their success was their overwhelming defensive presence. This advantage was amplified by the fact that the Lakers arena, Minneapolis Auditorium, was 4 feet more narrow than a standard court, which limited spacing and heavily impacted scoring. Pistons coach Murray Mendenhall had spent 3 years trying to come up with a plan to defeat the Lakers at home, who hadn't lost there in an entire season. At this point, the Lakers had won 3 straight championships in 3 different leagues, including the first ever NBA Finals, and everyone was running out of ideas on how to possibly neutralize their home court advantage. In a moment of desperation, the coach settled on a controversial plan: disrupt the Lakers' rhythm by stalling the entire game. And since the shot clock hadn't yet been invented, they could theoretically just pass the ball back and forth indefinitely. Pistons center Larry Faust was instructed to hold the ball at center court until the Lakers started playing man defense. When the referees started yelling at the Pistons to play ball, Mendenhall screamed back that the Lakers were implementing an illegal zone defense, which the Lakers coach obviously denied. The auditorium of over 7,000 roared with boos, but they stuck to the game plan, holding the ball for up to 3 minutes at a time. The Lakers were able to successfully force a few turnovers, but this stalling strategy appeared to be working. With only a handful of shot attempts in the first quarter, the Lakers weren't able to get into rhythm, and both Bob Harrison and Slater Martin missed easy fast break layups. The Pistons would end the first quarter with an 8-7 lead. The second quarter would continue in much the same way, until Geroge Mikan almost single-handedly took over the game. Well, as much as he could, considering his team hardly ever even got to touch the ball. The Lakers were able to slowly crawl back and end the half with a comfortable 13-11 lead. When they returned after the half, the Pistons stuck to their strategy despite trailing, but it started to look like this entire display might end up backfiring. With the Lakers maintaining their advantage through the end of the third quarter and entering the final minutes with a 1-point lead, it was now their turn to stall. These tactics proved to be continually effective at throwing off the Lakers' rhythm, with them only scoring a single point in the entire fourth quarter, but the Pistons were suffering the same fate. This was of course by design. The coach had managed to keep this game closer than any Lakers home game in a calendar year, but with a minute left on the scoreboard, it seemed like they were truly unbeatable. No matter how alien of a strategy you cook up, the ability of Geroge Mikan was just too great to overcome. In a last-minute attempt, rookie Larry Faust cut to the basket on the inbound, launched up a quick layup over the outstretched arms of Mikan, who was able to make contact, just tipping it in what everyone assumed was a successful block, only for the ball to fall directly in the basket with only 6 seconds left on the clock.
And in the last play of the game, he went up, and I was told, don't foul him. We're 1 point ahead. He went up for the shot. I went up to block it. It rolled off my hand, and it went in off of my hand. And did I get it from our players?
Mikan finished the game with 15 of the Lakers' 18 points and every single made field goal on the team. Nobody else was able to make a single shot aside from Geroge Mikan. The media fallout from the game was to be expected, with the majority of reporters such as Charlie Johnson criticizing the display as a sports tragedy, while a minority of others defended the Pistons' tactics, like Minneapolis Tribune writer Dick Cullum, saying, "They cannot be criticized for using it. It is a low conception of sport to say that a team's first duty is to give you a lot of senseless action instead of earnest competition." This is a compelling argument, but the league commissioner vehemently disagreed. He would immediately launch an investigation into the event and was quoted in the press saying, "Whatever may be the desirable features of winning a game, the interest of the spectators is superior to that. The score indicated complete oblivion to the interest of the spectators." Where do you guys come down on this? Do you blame the coach? Should he have not implemented a winning strategy simply because it's not entertaining enough? And is that sentiment in alignment with the true spirit of competition, which is what separates sport from entertainment in the first place? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm actually interested to know. It's a common misconception, promoted by the likes of Pat Riley and even Geroge Mikan himself, that this game was the impetus for the shot clock's addition to the league.
One of the most important rule changes was the 24-second shot clock, and it was because of that 19-18 game against the Fort Wayne Pistons. Would you talk about that?
Well, the Fort Wayne team stalled on offense. They would not shoot. They would not move the ball forward. And I'll never forget the game because it was a father-son game and the place was packed, and we were trying very hard to make a game out of it.
However, this incident only established a verbal agreement between teams to not stall egregiously. It took another 5 years for an actual shot clock to be added. Stalling for long periods was still a persistent issue at the end of games for years to come. Researching this video got me wondering, what was the lowest scoring game of organized, competitive basketball in the entirety of recorded history? And after digging through some old newspapers, I'm confident that I found it. In 1941, 2 Colorado high school teams recorded 4 scoreless quarters at an organized basketball tournament. Los Animas vs. La Junta High School ended in overtime with a score of 2-0. A newspaper article from the time outlines the thrilling last minutes. In overtime, Los Animas missed on a long shot but scored on a rebound, and then everyone went home to bed, which they almost did during the game itself. If you enjoyed, please like, please subscribe. There's multiple videos coming every week covering every sport I feel like talking about. Thank you for watching.